Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's performance of Mind of a Magician. A few housekeeping notes before the show begins. Tonight's performance is created from suggestions that have come in from past audience members. This will be the 9th installation in a 12-part series of shows, and we hope you'll join us for future Mind of a Magician experiences. Please take a minute to address your cell phones. Look at them, appreciate the wonderful objects that they are, and feel free to hurl them against the wall because we're all tired of video conferencing. Outside snacks and beverages are welcome in our theater, and in the event of an emergency, friends, family, and quarantine buddies can all be used as flotation devices. We are going live to the Dolby Theater, so sit back, relax, and enjoy Mind of a Magician number 9. Now, please welcome your host for the evening, Evan Northrop! Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's installation. Thank you for tuning in to what is sure to be a landmark event in the history of magical cinematic achievement. My name is Evan Northrop, and I will be your host with the most, your movie manager and your cinematic Sherpa tonight. Now, other award shows, such as the Oscars or the Tonys, only look at materials from that particular year. As this is the first year of the Excellence in Variety Arts and Narrative Storytelling Awards, our crack team has taken it upon themselves to look throughout history to find the most amazing examples of movie magic. We'll journey back through the decades and see how cinematic conjuring has made the movies the magical outlet that it is today. But before we dive in, a few notes for friends both new and returning. This show is entirely new. And since loads of magic shows have been popping up all over the digital landscape, we're trying something different. I'll be curious to know what you think because nothing I do happens without my audience. And tonight, the role of the audience will be played by all of you out there in TV land. So please, let me know that you're out there. Maybe tell us where you're watching from to make this big world of ours just a little smaller for the next hour. Don't be afraid of that chat function over here or maybe over there, because for the first time in my virtual performing history, I can see what you're saying. Incredible, that's right. Gone are the days of non-interactive television where a ruggedly handsome suit-wearing magician hosts a made-up award show in a vacuum. This is the dawn of a new era. That's right, my friends, we stand on the precipice of the next great frontier where even a screen can't keep us apart. So buckle up for what is sure to be a wild ride as we take a stroll down our movie-laden memory lane to find out who walks away with the biggest awards of the evening. Let's dive in to Marvels of the Movies. Our first stop on these filmed flights of fancy takes us to the world of comic books turned movies. But we here at the Academy of Cinemagic wouldn't be quite so obvious as to highlight a hero on this night. Oh no, we've turned our focus to one of the most iconic villains to ever grace the DC universe. The character of the Joker has been approached by some of the biggest stars of their days, and always with a mischievous lilt. Now in 2008, Heath Ledger brought a particular edge to the role, which makes for a somewhat controversial first Evans Award. Before the portrayal found its dark flair, it turns out Mr. Ledger was trying his hand at a more light-hearted, magical interpretation of the character. So, to commemorate this award, we tracked down some of the original screen test footage under the inspired direction of director Rupert Von Hahn, whose voice you'll hear in the background. Now, these clips had almost been lost in the digital sands of time, but we bring them to you for the first time tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the award for Best Actor playing the part of a magician goes to Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker. Let's roll that footage.
Take one. Okay, Dark Knight, Joker scene, here we go. The line, who are you? Why should we listen to you?
How about a magic trick? A simple pencil, solid as a rock, but with a snap. Rubber. And it's back. Ta-da.
Nein, God. Das ist bad. That is the silly trick. Try something with some intensity.
Intensity. Okay. Any direction on any of this stuff?
Yeah, intensity. More of it.
Okay.
Take 2.
Want to see a magic trick? A pencil. It's here. It's gone. It's back. Let's see the Batman do that.
Yeah, it's very quick. Maybe something more stronger.
Stronger? Is there a prop person that can help me out here? I'm not a magician, I'm a clown.
Exactly. Channel all that rage and fear that comes with being a clown. Let's do another.
All right.
Take 3. Take 4. Take 5.
How about a magic trick? Ooh, scary tiny pencil. Ta-da!
Another. Take 11. Take 13. Take 18. 19. 20. 34. 45. 67. 131.
A dangerously sharp pencil tip. Magic.
It's a bit small. Maybe you could make it bigger for the big screen. Don't just break the itty-bitty tip, yeah?
Fine. I'll try one more. Ooh, a pencil.
Not too bad, but there is no drama. I want excitement.
Make up your mind, or I swear I am going to stab someone with this.
Yeah, that is drama. That could work.
And we're back. You know, technical difficulties happen, folks. That's a little sneak peek coming up in a minute. Onwards we push with our temporal tour, that is, of televised trickery. And this second award brings us to the 70s. 1971 to be specific, where American actor, director, screenwriter, and all-around funny guy Gene Wilder breathed surreal life into the children's book character of Willy Wonka. When we think of Willy Wonka and his delicious factory, images of chocolate waterfalls and bratty children come to mind over a soundtrack of oddly catchy tunes. But one of the most magical elements of the story that often gets overlooked is the hidden presence of golden tickets, the entry passes to becoming a candy mogul. These tickets were snuck into candy bars, presumably against all FDA regulations, for underage children to fight over and claim. Ah, the 70s. Before the movie was released, there was a full sequence highlighting the magical nature of the golden tickets, all set to the musical backdrop of the Chocolate Factory. For the first time ever seen on screen, my friends, this deleted scene comes to you from the cutting room floor of Hollywood. A disclaimer, if you will. Critics have said one reason this scene was cut was because it includes math and, quote, people hate math. I think it was Roger Ebert who said that. Personally, I disagree, but you do need to be following along with those tricky tickets through this one. So the award for most magical scene unceremoniously cut from a movie, much to the distress of magicians worldwide, goes to 1971's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Let's see that mischievous magic of Gene Wilder.
I've got a perfect puzzle for you. Oompa loompa doompa dee dee. If you are wise, you'll listen to me. What do you do as a sweet billionaire? Ready to quit, but in need of an heir. Randomly send golden tickets by fate. I'm sure you will find good candidates. or you'll get some weirdo kids. Oompa loompa doompa dee doo. Here's the enigma we have for you. Oompa loompa doompa dee dan. These are the details of Wonka's plan. It's perfect as long as OSHA doesn't find out. Bring in a child to manage the phase out. Any of the 5, that is if they survive. So here go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's not right, I'm sure of it. Oompa loompa doompa dee dounce. Wonka can't add or subtract when it counts. Oompa loompa doompa dee dive. Take 1 away, you'll be left with just 5. Now load them inside their chocolate shells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What the hell? Please take 1 out so we can move on. Why did we trust him with this job? The guy is sweet but not that bright. Oompa loompa, this feels like a trick. How is it that you're still left with 6? Oompa loompa, we've got an extra. Perhaps taking 2 is the right formula. 6 minus 2 should leave us with just 4. But as we've seen, there is always 1 more. Take 2 away, we'll be back up to 5. Look, now there's 1, 2, 3. Oh, come on! Put those 2 back in the stack. Oompa loompa doompa dee dot. Counting may be harder than we had thought. Oompa loompa doompa dee dee. We'll make it to 5, adding 2 into 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, this doesn't make sense. Give it 1 more and get through the sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now 6. Do you think that we are losing it? Does chocolate cause you to see things? Oompa loompa doompa dee dis. We didn't sign up for any of this. Oompa loompa doompa dee dive. What must we give to get them to?
Wait! I figured it out. It's simple math. Stay with me on this. By adding 1 to the set of 4 and reaching 6, we can safely assume that 1 is equal to 2. When removing 2 from 6 and ending up at 3, it follows that 2 is equal to 3. So if 1 is equal to 2 and 2 is equal to 3, it stands to reason that 3 is equal to 1 and vice versa to complete the numerical loop. Ergo and wherefore, through the process of subtracting from our 6 our 3, which in truth must be equal to 1, we can avoid the move from 6 to 3, but rather end at the desired 5. See? 1, 2, 3 leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Doompa-dee-doo.
What an achievement in manual dexterity. And I don't know who recorded that backing track, but those dulcet tones will stick with me for longer than I wish to remember. In the immortal words of Willy Wonka himself, the snozberries taste like schnozberries. But in the more appropriate words of Willy Wonka, so much time and so little to do. Wait a minute, strike that, reverse it, on we go. The end of the 1890s marks the historical beginning of the world of film. The Lumiere brothers caused a train to barrel towards unsuspecting audience members, and Georges Méliès, a reformed magician and the godfather, many people don't know this, of special effects, wowed cinema-going audiences with his flair for illusion. Right around that same time, on the streets of New York City, the Newsboys' strike brought circulation to a halt in a massive youth-led campaign. But it wasn't until almost a century later, in 1992, that those two worlds collided, and Disney represented that strike in movie musical form. Pardon me. Originally a box office flop, Newsies told the story of a scrappy group of newspaper can't do it, nope. Not gonna work. Next show, New York accent. Newsies told the story of a scrappy group of newspaper hawkers rising up against the omnipotent Joseph Pulitzer and William Randolph Hearst to fight against price hikes in the only way they knew how, through the power of choreographed song and dance. I have no clue why this film didn't get the initial theatrical respect I think it deserved, only finding its cult video following once it made its way to VHS. But I have a guess. Thinking back to the time period this movie references, movies were still pretty darned magical. But this 121-minute magnum opus simply glossed over the art of magic altogether. And that is why we here at the Evans Awards assembled a team of master editors who went back through the original footage to remaster it and include the hint of magic that we all felt it was missing. Now, the addition is pretty subtle, so if you missed the changes the first time around, we will make sure to upload the video to YouTube channels so you can go frame by frame later on. With no further ado, the Magic After the Fact Award is presented to Newsies.
Can't get any worse.
What's it gonna take to stop the wagons? Are we ready? Yeah! No! Yeah! What's it gonna take to stop the scabbers? Can we do it? Yeah! We'll do what we gotta do until we break the will of Mighty Bill and Joe. And the world will know. And the journal too.
There's the Hearst and Pulitzer, have we got news for you?
Now the world will hear what we got to say.
We've been hawking headlines, but we're making them today.
And the ranks will grow.
And we'll kick their rear.
And the world will know that we've been here.
That's right, what the think he is anyway? Nobody's gonna mess with the newsies.
When the circulation bell starts ringing, will we hear it? No! What if the Lanceys come out swinging? Will we hear it? No! When you got 100 voices singing, who can hear a lousy whistle blow? And the world will know that this ain't no game. And we gotta turn a rotten, crude, and perfect game. So they gave their word, but it ain't worth beans. Now they're gonna see what Stop the Presses really means. And the day has come, and the time is now, and the fear is gone,
And the name is mud.
and the strike is on.
And the distant blood.
Pull it to me on the world, but he don't own us. Pull it to me on the world, but he don't own us. Pull it to me, crack the whip, but he won't whip us.
Ah, a deft hand at editing, to be sure. I recently rewatched Newsies, and you will all be happy to know that I still remember every single lyric. Anywho, there are a couple more honorable and dishonorable mentions before we get to our big winner. So if you need a snack or a drink break, well, you're probably in your own house, so figure it out. In days like these, we need the arts more than ever. They connect us when we're separated, and they give us the tools to process issues that are bigger than our individual selves. Now, the arts world has always been a resilient world, and creators constantly impress me with their ability to produce an artistic vision that is often so much more than the sum of its individual parts. No film did this better than The Lord of the Rings. One franchise to rule them all. One of the most highly awarded film series in our history, The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King brought a level of detail to the big screen that couldn't even have been imagined up to that point. But before the fruits of these labors are ever witnessed on screen, the groundwork gets laid years in advance. The care for this project spanned from the most sophisticated makeup artists, props designers, and camera operators, all the way to the lead actors and Peter Jackson, their visionary director. The special effects on this DVD are fascinating, and some of the behind-the-scenes looks are breathtaking. But not only that, there are Easter eggs hidden on the extended editions of the DVDs. So in honor of this next award, we're going to share one of those secret videos with you. So, the Evans Award for Magical World Creation goes to Peter Jackson and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. To put this video in context, we are all learning about Zoom this year, thanks to the unending Sarlacc pit of despair that is 2020. But we were not the first to the game. Apparently, before the cast of Lord of the Rings was able to begin their rehearsal process in person, they used video conferencing software to connect. Now, I'll let Peter Jackson, our awardee, take it from here. Please enjoy this snippet. All right, rehearsal 1, Frodo and Gandalf. Elijah and Ian should be logging in any minute. Hey there, Pete. Hi, Elijah. Thanks for being here. Oh, I'm unbelievably excited. I know we're starting the rehearsal process from afar, but I made myself this makeshift hobbit costume to really get into character. It's very interesting. Ian should be joining any minute. It looks like he might just be running a little bit behind. Oh, here it comes now. You're late. A wizard is never late, Elijah Wood. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when his internet connects. Oh, that's good. That's going in the script. We must be precise as actors. Take that down, young Mr. Wood. Speaking of which, these names at the bottom of the screen seem just a bit informal, no? My full given name is, of course, Ian McKellen. Oh, sure. Here you go. But my friends call me Sir Ian McKellen. Oh, right. Here you are, then. Of course, we are getting into character, so to fulfill the role as it should be done, perhaps something more like this. How did you... Peter, how did he... Right. I like your costume, Ian, Sir Ian McKellen. I got dressed up too. Dressed up? What do you mean, dressed up? Your outfit. The wizarding garb? This is simply my afternoon attire, young Elijah. You have much to learn about the path of the true thespian. Now, shall we begin? Excellent idea. We're going to be working some scenes with the ring, so I've sent you each a little care package with a stand-in for the ring we can use for now. Oh, I got the chain, but there was nothing with mine. How appropriate. One ring to rule them all. You may use mine, little hobbit. One ring to rule them all. Whew. I'm not really sure that's how it works, Sir Ian. We're in different places. Ha! Fool of a Baggins! How little you know of the magical world we inhabit. Now, take a bit of tissue from that package. Good. And twist it up about the chain. Like that? Good. Now the ring of power holds secrets only fire can tell. Do you have a flame? Yeah, I can grab a lighter. A secret only fire can tell. Good. And now, hold the flame to the paper. Like this? Whoa! How the hell did you do that? Peter, did you see that? Is that one of the effects from the movie? Sorry, what's the question? I've just been writing down everything Ian's been saying. It's pure gold. It's going straight into the ultimate script. Ian, just take it from your line. The ring of power Keep it secret. Keep it safe. Yes, that was quite good. Very nice. No, no, no. If I may, Mr. Jackson, we need to see, nay, feel Frodo keeping the ring safe. One can't simply look at or hold the ring to keep it safe. Do this now. Hold up the chain and ring separately, and thread the chain through the ring. And on my line, keep it safe. Simply drop the ring and trust in me. Now, keep it secret. Keep it safe. Aha! Peter, did you guys plan this? What is happening? Sorry? I was writing. Okay, I think I'm seeing things. Can we just push this off a little until I'm seeing normally again? Sure, we can just pick it up next week when we're on site. Great, I'll just sign off then. Frodo, my ring is still on your chain. Oh, right. Here you go. Did you get it? I can't see it there. No, no, my young hobbit friend. I don't expect that you can. You see, the rings of power are magical, mystical items of old, never fully to be trusted. This one just here has gone already on an unexpected journey, traveling all the way there and back again. Bloody brilliant. No idea how, but I'm using that. Oh, I was a little unclear on the transportation. Now, how should we get to New Zealand? Fly, you fools! I am just being told by our tech team that there may be one of the platforms that, while it's connected and you're seeing the stream, I may not be seeing your comments. If that's the case, we at the Academy deeply apologize. But hey, that's technology. Let's go on with this party. Oh no, I didn't realize what was next. I hate to bring this party down, but the world of magic and the movies isn't all fun and games. There is drama. And we here at the Academy consider it our civic duty to shed light on the scandals of the day. Which brings me to the worst offenders of them all. Charles Schulz and his band of peanuts, led by none other than the scoundrel otherwise known as Snoopy. Sure, he might seem like an innocent animated canine, but his indiscretions lie in a lesser-known Peanuts film. We're all familiar with Charlie Brown Christmas, and I bet you've seen It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. But tonight, we are highlighting, or should I say, low-lighting, It's Magic, Charlie Brown. On its surface, it seems as harmless as all the others, but it is simply not so. The story follows our ostensibly loving Beagle as he learns the conjuring arts and puts on a magic show for the neighborhood kids as the Great Houndini. A fun little magic show? Negative. The Great Houndini? I think not. If we look back into the history of stage magic, we are all, of course, reminded of the icon of stage conjuring, the Great Houdini. And if we examine a snippet of Snoopy's routine side by side with that of the Great Houdini, we see some suspicious similarities that require the record be set straight. So this year's Scandals and Vandals title goes to none other than Snoopert Snoopy Brown. Take a look.
It gives me great pleasure to introduce, in his first show ever, one of the world's great magicians, none other than the Great Houdini. great Houdini will attempt the famous ring trick.
Yeah, it's a robbery. Now let's see you take him apart. Fake, ha ha ha. Yeah, fake.
Intellectual property theft runs rampant in the magic community, which makes innovation and achievement in special effects all the more worthy of our praise. The movies have quite the impressive repertoire of practical effects. Back in 1977, I believe, when Star Wars Episode 4 was released, George Lucas and his crew of creative geniuses used so much more than movie magic to transport us to a galaxy far, far away. Forced perspective from visual arts was fused with magical technique to create some of the most iconic magical moments in cinematic history. But what many people don't know is just how silly things can get with actors being trained in magical methodology while on set. Just take a look at this outtake from the epic final showdown between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi, portrayed, of course, by Alec Guinness. This one sneaks up on you fast, so don't blink or you will miss it.
And if you strike me down, I will become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
So often, the behind-the-scenes production teams are the true magicians making everything happen. From stage to screen, unsung heroes offstage pour their hearts into projects to bring them to life. And this show is no different. While it is me in front of the camera at the moment, this whole series of shows is brought to you by an incredible group of people, from magicians to artists to general creative thinkers. And I want to say a huge thank you to all of you out there right now and throughout the years that support me. In particular, the crew of supporters over on my Patreon page who are supporting project-based work and my unusual creations in these uncertain times. So thank you so much for helping to bring a little magic into the world when it needs it the most. It means a lot to me. On we go. When we think of practical magical effects in film, one name rises above all others. One man has tamed great white sharks. One man has opened the Ark of the Covenant, brought dinosaurs back to life, and made DeLoreans fly. Steven Spielberg indelibly altered the cinematic landscape thanks to his creative mastery of movie magic. To pay homage to a director who could have easily succeeded in the field of magic, we've compiled a mini documentary about the genius at work on one of his seminal films that was filled to the brim with practical magic, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Oh? Oh, okay. I am just getting word from our producers that we have a rare opportunity. It turns out that the very recipient of this award is following along with the broadcast in real time. Is there any way we can get a video feed of Mr. Spielberg? Great. Okay, great. Let's go live to Steven Spielberg's living room for a few words, I suppose, with the man, the myth, the legend himself before we dive into the clip. You know, the reason I'm able to do what I do so well is because I can suspend my disbelief as well as any child. Exactly, you know, that's right. That's right. Even when the audience can see the wires making the trick work, it's my job to make them forget about what they're seeing. I'm some sort of movie masochist. I like to inflict as much pain and as many sleepless nights on myself as possible in the search for practical movie effects. Well, we are going to try one more thing here. My tech team, i.e. me, is going to give this one more go. So pardon me as we do a little editing on the fly. I'm going to call Steven Spielberg back because apparently we just dropped him. Apparently. You know, the reason I'm able to do what I do so well is because I can suspend my disbelief as well as any child. And check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. I assume you're able to hear me now. Well, you know, when we are trying to troubleshoot these things on the fly, there are, of course, very complicated technical reasons for things not working, and it's definitely not a mistake ahead of time. So, I think we are getting word from Steven himself that he is willing to do this again. So let's try one more time as we get, it's a private conversation, exactly. So, let's give this one more time and I'll check in with all of you as we call our friend Steven Spielberg back. Can anyone hear me in the chat room right now? It seems like you might be able to. So I'm going to proceed like you can and you tell me if you can't. Deja vu, Mr. Spielberg, we were just talking twice about how you're a movie magician. So take us behind the scenes and infusing wonder into your things. How do you do what you do? You know, the reason I'm able to do what I do so well is because I can suspend my disbelief as well as any child. And it's not just the imagination you bring to your work, but your understanding of the audience perspective. You're practically a psychologist on top of it all. Exactly. You know, that's right. That's right. Even when the audience can see the wires making the trick work, it's my job to make them forget about what they're seeing. And you do it so well. It's obviously a byproduct of the blood, sweat, and tears you bring to your work. We can feel that dedication and that passion. But what's your secret? What goes into pulling off these illusions behind the scenes? I'm some sort of movie masochist. I like to inflict as much pain and as many sleepless nights on myself as possible in the search for practical movie effects. Well, it pays off. In fact, to show some of your process, we dug up some footage. I believe you shot yourself. Now, I'm not sure if you remember capturing this during the filming of E.T., but it documents some of your process and highlights your flair for the magical. You want to take a look with us? I don't remember that off the top of my head, but let's check it out. Let's see what the footage has. Okay, great. Ladies and gentlemen, the Evans Award for Lifetime Achievement goes to none other than Steven Spielberg, and this has always been a dream of mine. Do you think you could count us into the clip? Do you think you could call action? You want me to call action? Oh, I don't have my little That's okay, just clangy thing. Okay, ready? And action. Welcome into my studio, Steven's studio, as it is lovingly called, where I can play and tinker with all of the little things and doodads that I've collected over the years to try and bring some of the imagery that I have in my head to life. And I had an idea come up in this movie that I'm developing about an alien. We're tentatively calling it A Boy's Life, or maybe E.T. and Me. But I've been tinkering with ideas, and I had an image come up, an image I really want to incorporate into the picture. And that is an image of nostalgia. It is an image that we all have burned into our minds from when we are younger. That is the image of a bicycle. And I think if we incorporate this image into some of the sequences that I've been imagining and planning, it could really create a memorable moment. So let me show you what I'm thinking. Cue the building montage. E.T. phone home. I always loved model building. I'm really just a big kid. I've got all the toys that I could ever want to play with, and this is where I get to let them run free. As with most of my stories, this is a love story. This one just happens to be between a boy and his alien. I wanted to show not only E.T. taking care of Elliot at some point, but Elliot taking care of E.T. And I have this image of E.T. being swaddled up in a white blanket, almost like a baby, and Elliot taking care of him. I'm gonna make something, and I'll show you what it looks like. It'll just be a placeholder. It won't actually be what E.T. looks like. I feel like we have a lot of conceptual monster making to do before we really find out what the creature looks like. You know, I like playing with all these different disciplines, especially when I get to create practical effects in my movies. People think of me as a director, but that's not how I started. Technically, I didn't start as anything. I started off by sneaking onto the lot. I was in high school in Arizona, and I was out visiting some cousins, and I took a tour one day. They had the old gray line tours, big buses and trams. They give you a bathroom break halfway through the day, so I got off and went to the bathroom, and I hid in the stall and waited until it was really quiet in the bathroom and figured everyone had left, and got back on and left, and came out half an hour later, and I was free. I was on the Universal Studios lot. Had no idea how I would get home, but spent the whole afternoon just walking in and out of doors, basically sound stages, cutting rooms, and took my own tour and had an amazing time. Nobody stopped me. But what happened was, at the end of the day, I went to go borrow a telephone and call my cousin to pick me up or figure out some way I could get back home. And I fortuitously borrowed the telephone of the Universal Studios film librarian, a guy named Chuck Silvers, who asked me what I was doing there. I told him the story that I told you, and he laughed, thought it showed a lot of chutzpah, and showed ambition, and showed that I really wanted to be a director, or at least, you know, break into the business in some way. And he gave me a 3-day pass on his own name for me to come back for 3 full days with this pink slip, the opposite of being fired, being hired. Sort of being able to legally come onto the lot for days, and I did for 3 days. And I wore nice clothes, because in those days, we're talking about the mid-60s, everybody wore suits, you know, really nice. So I wore a nice kind of bar mitzvah suit. And then I came back on the end of the 3rd day, and Chuck said he didn't have the authority to assign any more passes, and I should use my own resources or contacts that I made over the last couple days but nobody would sign off, take me under their insurance umbrella and give me a chance to observe. So I took a shot, and maybe the guard would recognize me without having to show my papers. So on the 4th day, same clothes, walked onto the lot, waved at Scotty, the guard. Remember Scotty? Scotty waved back, and next 2.5 months, summer vacation, I was on the lot 5 days a week, every day for 2.5 months until school began and I had to go back to Phoenix. Now, I am no artist, but even looking at this, my eyes can see that it's a little too black and white. So we need to bring a pop of color to it, something that will bring the characters into a 3rd, maybe even a 4th dimension. And I have an idea for what to use. A nice pop of red will do exactly what we want it to do. Bring the love story component to life. I think we could knit him, sew him up a garment that will make him stand out from the rest of the picture. So, full disclosure, I never learned how to sew. When I was making movies when I was younger, my mother would make everything for me. I did watch her, and I think it's just a lot of this motion. So I think if you do that motion, that's what knitting is. Does that seem right? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so let's try it. So we do this, good, and it probably just comes together after a point. You probably have to think about what you want. So we don't want socks. Scarves can be tricky with actors. So a hoodie would be great. So I'll just think hoodie, make that motion. And there we go, see? Knitting is far easier than I thought it was when I was younger. It always seemed so daunting, but really it's all about the motion, this motion. Now it gets a little tricky around the arms because you gotta bring those sleeves into the body of the garment. And then the trickiest part of all, of course, is the hood of the hoodie because it's round. But I think with some careful maneuvers, some extra wrist motion, we can finish off that hood. Oh. There we go. One perfectly knit red hoodie. Let's see how it goes with the color scheme of the scene we are building. And yes, I think that will do exactly what we need it to do in the eyes and the minds of our audience. On we go. I hope this will work. There we go. And one of the powers we've been thinking about giving E.T. is that of telekinesis and moving things with his mind. I wonder if we could get him to fly. Let me simulate what that would look like. Maybe I can prop it up. Yes, that's it. That's the exact image that I wanted to capture, the one I had in my head. And that's perfect because my movies are about dreams I'm never able to realize in my life. I have this intuitive feeling and a mathematical belief that there are beings both benevolent and benign as E.T., as well as hostile off this planet, out in the universe somewhere, and that's what I want to bring to the screen. This whole process of play and creation, it's all about finding the heart of a given motion picture. This movie has always been about love and friendship between a boy and his alien. There is a particular moment when E.T.'s red heart light lights up that gives us hope, gives us pause, and causes Elliot to surge with life and vice versa. And I think if we gave E.T.'s heart light a chance, it could heal a whole lot more than just one person. I'm Steven Spielberg. Thank you for joining me on this little journey through my studio, and I'll see you next time here at the movies. Well, before we get into our last couple of awards for the evening, I do want to say that to all of the folks who I am currently not communicating with because some of our chat functionality is down, I may be able to see what you say, or I might not be. So while I wish we weren't in a vacuum, there's some vacuuming happening. Please feel free to continue saying things as I will review them all after the fact. On we go, as I said, to the final 3 awards of the evening, and it is no surprise on this one that the wizarding world of Harry Potter is walking away with an award tonight. But this award comes with a twist. As a magician myself, one thing that always excites me is the presence of magical props in movies. Getting to play with these intricate objects of intrigue is exhilarating, and whoa Nelly, do we have an exciting one to share with you tonight. So, the award for Magical Object of the Year goes, of course, to Harry Potter. This universe of unending oddities is home to some of the most memorably magical objects throughout movie history. Flying broomsticks, potions galore, magical creatures, every which way you turn, there's another deeply enchanting object to captivate our minds. Now we, at the Academy of Magical Goings-Ons and whatnot, value interaction with our audience. So this is your chance at home to participate in the very show, yes, you out there, to be a part of this show. Now, whether you are tuning in on Facebook or YouTube, in a moment, one of you could have the opportunity to interact with a truly magical object. So, get those typing fingers ready if you want to try your hand at some trivia, followed by an opportunity to influence the direction of the show this evening. Here's the question, and feel free to type that answer into the chat. Even if I can't respond to you, I should be able to see most of you. The namesake of a book and movie in the series, this magical object chooses champions for the Tri-Wizard Tournament. Type away if you know the answer and I will toss it up on the screen. Now this is where the magic of the internet breaks down because there may be a little bit of a delay. So while I'm sure many of you know the answer right away, if I were to wait for the first response to come in, it might take 15 or 20 seconds of silence, which in movie time is like a year and a half. But through this cleverly placed delay tactic, explanation of the process, suddenly that time is filled and your present tense responses get caught up with future Evan, a miracle in and of itself. Excellent. Trivia goes down because the different responses are coming in across the media and it looks like Felicia got it first. Felicia Marie, thank you so much for tuning in. I want to thank you all for playing. So it looks like Felicia got it first on my screen with the correct answer, the Goblet of Fire. Thank you all for playing. And Felicia, I'd like your help with something to put the power of a magical object to the test. But we are not testing just any magical object. We have with us the original Goblet of Fire. The original Goblet of Fire. There it is. As you may know from the series, woo, you won! Champions wishing to compete in tournaments put their names inside on small slips of parchment, and the goblet, in a flash of fire, spit out only the most worthy one to be the representative. I just saw Colin's comment come through saying, "Where's the scar?" So I had this on my table. Let's do this live. Oh, we can get rid of this. There we go. Perfect! You're welcome, Colin. Remember this. So the Goblet of Fire spits out the one name in a flash of fire, only the most worthy. And now, well, Felicia, we don't have a tournament for you to compete in. We have an equally important decision to be made by Felicia here. In a moment, I'll place the names of 4 different magical objects inside the goblet. And only once they are all safely inside, I will ask Felicia to choose one of them and write it in the chat for everyone to see. If all goes according to plan, the introduction of a small amount of fire will have magical consequences. So, the decision being made among the objects is among these 4. Which, Felicia, is the most magical in your opinion? Now the choice is yours, and yours alone. We have the invisibility cloak for turning invisible, of course. Very useful no matter what the exploits you're getting up to. In you go. Second, we have the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone if you happen to be British, for eternal life and making gold out of base metals. Third, the Marauder's Map, for surreptitiously seeing where everyone is at any given moment. And last but certainly not least, the Time Turner, for going back in time just a little bit. And now that all the slips are safely inside and will remain on display the entire time, please, Felicia, type your selection in the chat box for all to see. We had the Invisibility Cloak, the Marauder's Map, the Sorcerer's Stone, and the Time Turner. While I'm tempted to make a long-winded speech like before, I shall wait out any delay in relative quiet so no one can accuse me of trickery after the fact. Relative quiet. Maybe, Felicia, it cut out, so I will... You can answer if you like, Chrysanthi. I like the enthusiasm. But while you said the... Oh, and we got one. We got an answer, it looks like. Yes, it is coming through. That is Felicia right there. Just double checking there weren't any usurpers. Perfect. A free choice through the internet. It looks like the Time Turner. I promise, and Felicia will attest to this, that nothing was set up ahead of time, and this was an honest, in-the-moment decision. Now, the addition of a simple little bit of fire with the world's tiniest magic wand, and incendio. Where once there were 4, now only 1 slip of paper remains. Let's find out. 1. Ooh, it's quite cool. Wrong movie. This would only be a truly magical object if the Goblet of Fire agreed with you and left the time turner. Excellent job. Thank you for your help, Felicia. And thank you to Warner Brothers for the loan of this incredible object during our show. Warner Brothers, producing groundbreaking movies since 1927. Warner Brothers, if you say their name 3 times on screen, much like Beetlejuice, they appear and give you a sponsorship check. Warner Brothers. Well, before we move on from the wizarding world of Harry Potter, my favorite object has to be the Marauder's Map. The idea of being able to know where anyone is at any given moment appeals to my sneaky side. So I got a little greedy. I knew we were getting the Goblet of Fire, but I asked for 1 extra object straight from Hogwarts, and it is this. What looks innocent enough, a piece of parchment, like so, but without any camera tricks or CGI, it simply takes a bit of old school magic. I solemnly swear that I am up to no good. And with that, a simple piece of parchment begins to change. 1 simple phrase, and let me see where the best, I haven't even tested this out yet. Let me see if I can get the good angle where you all can see this. I don't know if farther away is better or closer. Oh, it seems like closer is a little better. Beautiful. With 1 simple phrase, the piece of parchment begins to reveal its secrets. And I think, apart from my lighting, yes, there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the Marauder's Map. Of course, I can't leave it like this for fear of people finding out all my secrets. So, for now, until next time, I will simply say, mischief managed. And thus concludes our tour into Harry Potter's world. As we near the end of our journey this evening together, we find ourselves once more turning towards the past for examples of magical excellence. This movie needs very little introduction. Mischief managed, says Felicia. Absolutely. This movie needs very little introduction. I will simply say that the worlds of magic and science are inextricably linked. And as Arthur C. Clarke once said, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Let's prove that to be true. The creative prowess of Christopher Lloyd is simply not to be overlooked. So the Magic versus Science Award goes to Back to the Future. Check out this sequence that never hit the theatrical release. Where is it? Oh. 22/7. Yep, seems right. Oh. Hello? Doc? Oh boy. Anybody home down here? Doc? Doc? Whoa. Doc? It's me, Doc. I'm here. Marty, is that you? Oh, good, you're here. Yeah, I came over right away. What's the big emergency? No. There's no time for any of that. Here, take this and come along with me. let's go. Wowzer, Doc, this is a pretty crazy workshop. Can't imagine what sort of stuff you make around here. All right, what are we doing? Do you have the stopwatch, Marty? Yeah. Good. Now when I say go, push the button and begin the counter. All right, commencing time trials in 3, 2, 1, go! Stop the watch, Marty! What was the final time? 32 seconds. 32 seconds! Perfection! This is going to work out perfectly, don't you understand?
Is that a DeLorean? Have you been practicing sketching? That's the big emergency?
No, Marty, don't be a slow-witted troglodyte. This is not the experiment, this is simply a placeholder, a time trial that takes precisely 32 seconds to create so that we can confirm the changes in the space-time continuum fluctuation after the conclusion of the real experiment.
Don't follow.
I'll explain further. Come with me.
I can't believe this is what he got me up at 5 in the morning for. Always with the crazy antics.
It's quite simple, and it's entirely based around my latest creation. I'm calling it the flux capacitor. It's sort of a temporary temporal storage unit to control the passage of time.
Temporal what?
Now, this is obviously just a rendering. The real device would be more like the size of a standard issue lunchbox and would require the input of 1.21 gigawatts of power for proper functioning.
Is that a lot?
Is that a lot? Use your brain, Marty. The only place in nature that sort of power exists naturally is a bolt of lightning. Oh, or perhaps a wormhole. That's good grounds for future experiments. But I found a way to control its operation using entirely safe, man-made materials.
What is that? Geez, Doc, is that plutonium? I thought you said this was safe.
Of course it is. All it takes is proper handling, and it's as safe as a third rail, a guardrail. Whatever, it's fine. For our small-scale version, I've infused a 1 to 3,000 ratio of plutonium into these very pens. It'll allow the drawing of a flux capacitor to function similarly to the real device. From there, all it needs is a thermal or kinetic boost to activate. Now, by my calculations, the larger versions will require kinetic movement of 88 miles per hour to activate, but a miniature version like this could require as little a thermal boost as the 98.6 degrees generated by the human body, which means, of course, we could take a miniaturized version of the flux capacitor, draw a representative symbol inside, and simply use the heat of our own hands to operate it. So if we put a tiny lightning bolt inside like so, perfect. That'll be fine. If we put a tiny lightning bolt inside it like that, it should just take the activation of body heat to make it perform the temporal time jump.
Doc, I never understand a single thing that you are saying, but show me what you're talking about.
Perfect.
Whoa, Doc, where did the symbol go? Did you erase it or something?
Marty, don't be a cranially flimsy nincompoop. It was never there. Our localized temporal flux moved the capacitor backwards through its own timeline a few seconds to the point immediately before it was drawn.
Wait, are you telling me that you've invented
time travel, Marty? Now, I believe we can increase the time jump capabilities as well as the affected physical distance approximately 6-fold in specific physical locations. I've found one of them and I plan on using it in part 2 of our experiment, if my calculations are correct, by increasing the amount of plutonium diffused into our device and positioning oneself directly on top of a site of increased temporal fluidity, let's say. The ability to move forwards or backwards through time increases to precisely 32 seconds. The radius of, let's see, the radius affected should be, carry the 1, 7.63 meters from the point of actuation.
Well, that's all great, but what am I here for?
Excellent question, Marty. You are here to document this momentous occasion in the history of science. To put it another way, you're on video camera duty. If all goes according to plan, I should experience the drawing of this car in a temporally congruous way. But you, standing outside the radius, you'll experience a time jump of equal measure without witnessing the process. Simply put, my forward time jump will make it seem as though the drawing of a car simply appears on whatever medium we choose to draw it onto. As if by magic. Out we go to blaze a new trail on the frontier for science, Marty. But safety first. This is the spot. By standing on this very spot, I, Dr. Emmett Brown, shall employ my latest creation to move forward in time by precisely 32 seconds, using this single dollar bill and this plutonium-infused marker, along with a simple flick of the wrist to simulate the necessary 88-mile-per-hour activation threshold. Everything within 7.63 meters will shift forward along a congruous timeline. Stand back, Marty. Let the countdown begin in T-minus 3, 2, 1. Oh, great Scott! Success! Back to the lab, and we can start building up for experiment number 3. I have a marvelous idea for the housing for our full-size model. And with that, for our final grand award of the evening, we are going to magic jump back to 1986. A time where synthesizers ran rampant through soundtracks, where rock stars of the day tested the acting waters, and where Muppets really came into their own. This perfect petri dish of possibilities produced a movie that could only have come to light in that era. I am speaking, of course, of the fantastical film Labyrinth, starring codpiece-wearing David Bowie and a host of Jim Henson's creatures under his direction. Now, during the film, some magical trickery resides. David Bowie, playing Jareth the Goblin King, of course, photo scene here, manipulates glass orbs. He juggles these spheres in fascinating patterns, but the piece of prestidigitation relevant to our proceedings is that he's not the one doing the manipulating. Before the time of CGI, directors had to get pretty clever with solving visual puzzles like this. In this particular case, they brought in contact juggler Michael Motion to be Bowie's hands. He had to contort himself into otherworldly positions to control the orbs, often without being able to see as he was hidden behind David Bowie with his arms reaching through the actor's costume. While Mr. Motion is, of course, worthy of an Evans Award all on his own, the final award of the evening is a posthumous one, which the Academy has voted unanimously to present to Mr. Bowie himself. In honor of this award, our team of cyber sleuths scoured the dark web until they came across a real gem to share with you tonight. It appears as though, before Mr. Bowie ceded control to Motion's contact juggling expertise, he was preparing to pull off the magic himself. So, we present to you now, from the secret depths of archival footage, David Bowie in full costumed regalia, trying his hand at some magic and manipulation.
It's a babe with the power of voodoo. You do. Remind me of the babe. I saw my baby do? My baby's love had gone and left my baby blue. Nobody knew what kind of magic spell to use. Oh, what we don't tell. And baby said, dance, magic, dance, magic, dance, magic, dance, magic, dance. That baby spell on me. Jump, magic, jump, magic, jump, magic, jump, magic. Put that magic jump on me. Slap that baby, make him free. I saw my baby trying hard as babe could try. What could I do? My baby's fun had gone and left my baby blue. Nobody knew what kind of magic spell to use. Puppy dogs tails. And baby said, dance, magic, dance, magic, dance, magic, dance, magic, put that baby spell on me. Jump, magic, jump, magic, jump, magic, jump, magic, jump, that magic jump on me. Slap that baby, make it free. Dance, magic, dance, magic, dance, magic, dance, magic, put that baby spell on me. No one can blame you for walking away with too much rejection. No love injection. Life can't be easy. It's not always well. Don't tell me truth hurts, little girl. 'Cause it hurts like hell. It hurts like hell. But down in the underground, you'll find someone true. Down in the underground, a land serene, a crystal moon. It's only forever, not long at all. Lost and lonely, that's underground, underground. Daddy, get me out of here. I'm underground. Well, about a place where nothing ever hurts again. Daddy, get me out of here. I'm underground.
And that, my friends, brings us almost to the end of the show. I say almost because no primetime TV-style event is complete without a rolling of the credits and proper thanks to those who made it a reality. Plus, at the end, I am going to roll a few bloopers that you will want to see. Firstly, is a huge thank you to each of you that is out there watching this right now. I love what I do, and the only reason I get to do it is because of folks like you who give time and money and feedback and support and love and care for the definitely odd and hopefully fun things that I make. Thank you for allowing me to do this. If you are interested in seeing more of what I do and helping to bring projects like this to life, please consider taking a moment to check out my Patreon page through the link in the chat room. It is a place where noble individuals are transformed into much-needed patrons of the arts. And secondly, there are individuals that need thanking. So let's roll those credits, shall we? Yes, here we are. The credits sequence. That's my name because I couldn't think of what else to put at the beginning. Moving on, the editors. Also me, I'm really sorry for that. But more importantly, my younger brother Connor. Check out his work, the work of BJ Hypes across all your media. It is hilarious and wonderful. Anytime you saw art in this thing, that is courtesy of my older brother, Dan Busso-Jarnes. He is incredible. Keep an eye out for his stuff. Costume designs, of which there were many throughout. All go to Martha Jarnes. Thank you for sewing because I can't. The props master, that would be Ray Busso, my father, whose basement you saw in the Back to the Future scene, the man who can find anything if given enough time, Arshan. Thank you, our audio engineer. He sat on the phone. He saved my butt for this show and my past shows. Jay Ligorio, our tech czar of all things, he helped me make this stream work. So if you saw me and heard me and it's coming to you, that's thanks to him. I am not the only magician involved with this. These are all wonderful magic folks who help me with this and other of my projects. Tyler Twombly, a wonderful creator in his own right. Dave, thanks for the tech help and the magic help. Ed, across the pond in England. Joelle, always a great mind. Jeff McBride, my mentor. Happy birthday, my friend. The editorial team, Chrysanthi, Maria, and Max, who watch all these rehearsals to make sure that they work more or less. And then this section is a new section for me and is really important to me. These are people who in the midst of all of this and after my shows and throughout this, they support me, and it truly means a lot. So if you can support me on the Patreon page, that's great. I will post a link to it. And if not me, go and support some other local artists. They really need it. So check out Patreon and Etsy and all of those wonderful places to find something weird you are interested in. I came up with a chunk of magic in this show, but there was a lot throughout all the videos. So these are all the people who I'd like to say thank you for creating and providing in the magical world. Yes, someone asked about the music in the very beginning. All of the stuff you don't recognize is thanks to this man, Kevin MacLeod. His music is excellent. Thank you for doing what you do. Talk about creators. This is the 9th installation of Mind of a Magician of 12, so there's three more weird projects coming. These are people who have, I think, come to all of them or maybe only missed one. And Eva, oh my goodness, Eva, I didn't put your name on there. Eva Rosenberg, you're marvelous. You guys, thank you for your continued support. Special thanks to Rengo Studios, one of my homes, my artistic homes. They do such cool production work, and they were the inspiration for this entire show. Hi to my whole crew out there. And once more, thank you to all of you out there for tuning in. I truly hope that you will tune in for whatever Mind of a Magician 10 turns into. It is a mystery even to me. So thank you all for being here. And if you are curious, hang out for a few minutes to see some behind-the-scenes bloopers of the process of making this show. It's only about 3 minutes if you want to see what I think is some shenanigans. So please, I hope you had a good time. Feel free to share this stuff around. I will leave it up for a little bit before I pull it down to edit it and make it look even more beautiful than it looks. But until then, please everybody stay safe. I love you all, and I will see you next time for Mind of a Magician. Good night. Crap. Take 2. Crap. Take 3. Take 5. Take 13. I hate that sound. Take 22. Aha! Peter, did you guys plan this? What is happening? Nailed it. Roll tape. Is it the flute that does it? Don't be a fool, Marty. The time travel is all made possible by my latest creation, a uranium-infused Game Boy Pocket. My latest creation, uranium-infused frog mirrors. Einsteinium-dusted red and green Lincoln logs. This thing. Locked and gilded books. Half an oil lamp. No idea. Ha! Police-grade handcuffs. The Zero Blaster. Californium-coated tiny baseball bats. Oh, oh, that's a wrap. That's a wrap.
You remind me of the babe with the power of voodoo. You do. Remind me of the babe. I saw my baby crying for this babe could cry. What could I do? My baby's love had gone and left my baby blue. Nobody knew what kind of magic spell to use. Oh, what we don't tell. And baby said, dance, magic dance, dance, magic dance, baby spell on me. Jump, magic jump, magic jump, magic jump, magic jump, that magic jump on me. Slap that baby, make him free. I saw my baby trying hard as babe could try. What could I do? My baby's fun had gone and left my baby blue. Nobody knew what kind of magic spell to use. Puppy dog's tails. And baby said, dance, magic dance, magic dance, magic dance, magic dance, that baby spell on me. Jump, magic jump, magic jump, magic jump, magic jump, that magic jump on me. Slap that baby, make it free. Dance, magic dance, magic dance, magic dance, magic dance, that baby spell on me. You remind me of the babe with the power of voodoo. You do. Remind me of the babe. What kind of magic spell to use? Silent snails or puppy dog tails, thunder or lightning, something frightening. Dance, magic dance, dance, magic dance. Put that baby spell on me. Jump, magic jump, jump, magic jump. Put that magic jump on me. Slap that baby, make it free. Dance, babe. Babe with the power. Power of voodoo. You do. Remind me of the babe. What kind of magic spell to use? Silent snails or puppy dog tails, thunder or lightning, something frightening. Dance, magic dance, dance, magic dance. Put that baby spell on me. Jump, magic jump, jump, magic jump. Put that magic jump on me. Slap that baby, make it free. Dance, magic dance, dance, magic dance, magic dance, magic dance, magic dance, magic dance, magic dance. Jump, magic jump, magic jump, magic jump. Put that magic jump on me. Slap that baby, slap that baby, make it free. Dance, magic dance, magic dance, magic dance, magic dance, magic dance, magic dance, You remind me of the babe. Babe with the power. Power of voodoo. You do. Remind me of the babe. I saw my baby crying for this babe could cry. What could I do? My baby's love had gone and left my baby blue. Nobody knew what kind of magic spell to use. Oh, puppy dog tails. And baby said, dance, magic dance, magic dance, magic dance, magic dance. That baby spell on me. Jump, magic jump, magic jump, magic jump, magic. Put that magic jump on me. Slap that baby, make him free. I saw my baby trying hard as babe could try. What could I do? My baby's fun had gone and left my baby blue. Nobody knew what kind of magic spell to use. Puppy dog's tails. And baby said, dance, magic dance, magic dance, magic dance, magic dance. Put that baby spell on me. Jump, magic jump, magic jump, magic jump, magic jump. Put that magic jump on me. Slap that baby, make it free. Dance, magic dance, magic dance, magic dance, magic. Put that baby spell on me. You remind me of the babe. Babe with the power. Power of voodoo. You do. Remind me of the babe. What kind of magic spell to